The 2026 World Cup was supposed to be football's greatest triumph, the biggest tournament in history. 48 nations, 3 host countries, more matches, more fans, and more global attention than any World Cup before it. For years, FIFA described this tournament as a celebration of football's future, a competition that would unite continents, expand the game, and take the World Cup to a level it had never reached before. But only days into the tournament, a very different conversation is beginning to take shape. The football is happening. The goals are being scored. The stadium lights are on. Yet everywhere you look, another story keeps emerging. Fans are angry. Criticism is growing. Protests are appearing. And FIFA is finding itself under pressure from multiple directions at the same time. The pressure isn't coming from one incident. It's not one controversial decision. It's not one bad match. It's the accumulation of issues that many supporters warned about long before the tournament even began. And now those concerns are no longer predictions. They're becoming visible realities. The first warning sign came from the stands, because one of the images that has followed the opening week of the tournament isn't a goal celebration. It's empty seats. When FIFA announced that World Cup 2026 had generated hundreds of millions of ticket requests, the expectation was obvious. Packed stadiums, sold-out matches, an atmosphere unlike anything football had ever seen. Instead, television broadcasts from multiple venues showed visible gaps in the stands. Not everywhere, not every match, but enough to create a conversation, enough for supporters to start asking questions, and enough for social media to turn attendance into one of the tournament's biggest stories. Now, to be fair, every World Cup experiences no-shows. Every major sporting event does. People miss flights. Plans change. Unexpected circumstances happen. That argument is completely reasonable. But the criticism isn't simply about empty seats. The criticism is about what those seats represent. Because many supporters believe those seats should have been occupied by football fans who wanted to attend but simply couldn't afford it. For months, complaints about ticket pricing dominated discussions around the tournament. Supporters pointed to expensive hospitality packages, expensive accommodation, expensive flights, and expensive travel between host cities spread across North America. The result was predictable. For many ordinary football fans, attending this World Cup became financially impossible. And when supporters see empty sections inside stadiums while hearing about record-breaking demand, frustration naturally follows. The image creates a contradiction. A World Cup that was supposed to be bigger than ever, yet in some cases looking less full than expected. But attendance is only one part of the story, because another controversy has been growing alongside it, the visa crisis. And unlike attendance debates, this issue affects far more than atmosphere. It affects who can actually participate in the tournament itself. One of the most widely discussed incidents involved Somali referee Omar Artan, a FIFA-appointed official selected for the biggest tournament of his career, a man who had spent years working toward this moment. Yet after arriving in the United States, he was denied entry and forced to return home. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about football. It was about access. How could a FIFA-selected referee be unable to participate in a FIFA World Cup? FIFA's response emphasized that immigration decisions belong to sovereign governments. Legally, that is true. But for many supporters, the explanation felt incomplete, because Artan's case quickly became symbolic of a larger concern. If referees, journalists, officials, and supporters face barriers entering the tournament, what does that mean for a competition that claims to welcome the entire world? Human rights organizations raise concerns. Supporter groups raise concerns. Journalists raise concerns. And FIFA found itself answering questions it clearly hoped would not define the opening week. Then came another source of criticism, the fan experience itself. Reports from supporters attending matches have described long queues, transportation challenges, expensive services, and inconsistent organization across certain venues. Now, it is important to note that many fans have also reported excellent experiences. Some host cities have been praised. Some venues have delivered exactly what supporters expected, but consistency matters. A tournament marketed as the greatest in football history invites the highest possible expectations, and every operational issue receives global attention. That scrutiny only increases when supporters are already frustrated about costs. Then there is the issue that perhaps concerns players more than anyone else: the heat. For years, scientists, climate researchers, and player unions warned that certain summer conditions in North America could create serious challenges. The warnings were public. The data existed. The concerns were documented. And during the opening matches, temperatures in several host cities quickly became part of the conversation. Mandatory hydration breaks were introduced. Cooling measures were deployed. Medical experts continued discussing whether enough had been done. Again, FIFA insists player welfare remains a priority. And again, critics argue more should have happened sooner. This pattern keeps repeating. FIFA explains. Critics push back. The debate continues. And every new controversy adds pressure. But perhaps the most damaging issue for FIFA is not any single problem. It's perception. Because perception often becomes reality in major sporting events. Think about how World Cups are remembered. People remember South Africa's atmosphere, Brazil's passion, Germany's organization, Qatar's controversy. Every tournament develops a narrative, a story that extends beyond football. And right now, the narrative surrounding World Cup 2026 is becoming increasingly complicated. The football itself has delivered moments. Mexico's opening performance created excitement. Canada's historic matches generated emotion. Several underdogs have already produced memorable stories. The players are doing their part. Yet the conversation keeps returning to everything happening around the football: the ticket prices, the attendance debates, the visa concerns, the heat, the organization, the protests, the criticism, the pressure. Now there's a counterargument worth considering, because fairness requires acknowledging it. The largest World Cup in history was always going to face challenges. 48 teams instead of 32. 3 host countries instead of 1. Massive travel distances. Record logistical complexity. Perhaps some turbulence was inevitable. Perhaps every issue is being amplified because of the tournament's unprecedented scale. That is the reasonable argument, and there is truth in it. No event of this size operates perfectly. Mistakes happen. Unexpected problems emerge. Criticism follows. But that explanation only goes so far, because many of the issues attracting attention today were not surprises. They were discussed months ago, sometimes years ago. Supporters warned about affordability. Player groups warned about heat. Advocates warned about access. Consumer groups warned about ticketing. The concerns existed long before kickoff, which is why many fans now feel less interested in FIFA's explanations and more interested in accountability. The feeling among critics is not that FIFA encountered unexpected problems. The feeling is that FIFA was warned and moved forward anyway. Whether that perception is fair or not, it is becoming increasingly influential, and that is why the pressure continues to grow. Not because one issue threatens the tournament, but because many issues are arriving simultaneously. Each controversy reinforces the next. Each criticism strengthens another criticism. Each headline creates momentum for the headline that follows. And FIFA now faces a challenge that goes beyond stadiums, tickets, or logistics. It faces a credibility challenge. Because supporters are asking a fundamental question. Are the people running football listening to the people who actually love football? The tournament still has weeks remaining. Knockout football has not even begun. Historic moments are still coming. The World Cup always produces unforgettable memories. That part is unlikely to change. The football itself may yet become the dominant story. But as things stand today, FIFA is fighting a battle on multiple fronts. Fans are angry. Protests are growing. Questions are multiplying. And the pressure surrounding World Cup 2026 appears to be increasing rather than fading. The biggest tournament in football history is underway. The question now is whether the conversation will eventually return to the football itself, or whether the controversy surrounding the tournament will continue growing alongside it. What do you think? Are the criticisms of World Cup 2026 justified? Or is this simply what happens when the world's biggest sporting event comes under the spotlight? Leave your thoughts below. And if you enjoy football analysis that looks beyond 90 minutes, Subscribe and stay with us as the story of World Cup 2026 continues to unfold.